Welcome to E360 TV, the live streaming and on-demand destination for influential voices and enlightened audiences. We offer trending, grassroots, and purpose-driven content across a diverse range of interests. E360 TV is more than just watching programs. We offer the ability to interact with live shows connecting audiences to real, authentic influencers and storytellers while streaming to millions of devices. Real experiences. Raw conversation. One destination for it all. E360 TV.
Hello, hello, hello. I have a question for you. Have you ever felt completely lost? You know, seeking purposeful direction that could and should propel your mission within your divine journey to that next level, but still it hasn't happened. Well, my name is Lauren Michaels Harris, and I'm the founder of P3, the Journey Series. People come to me because they're wounded. Many are scared, and even there are those who are bruised simply because they feel that they are increasingly, for whatever reason, losing their ability to dream. Now, this P3 program is not for a person who's just looking to start a business, no, but rather for those of you out there who have been on your journey and you've been navigating within your divine purpose, but you still desire to elevate to that level that you have not reached yet. If this is appealing, if this describes you, then I want to have a chat with you. I want to hear your story. So use the link below to get registered for your free seat at P3, the Journey Series. And let's get started, one story at a time. I'll see you inside. Click the link.
Don't see what's yours for the taking tonight.
The train is coming. You better get ready to get on board. It's time. It's time. Good morning. Wake that ass up. Wake it up. Welcome to today's installment of Bathrobe Moments. I'm your host, Dr. Laura Michaels Harris, and I am so excited to be here with you today, as every day, Monday through Friday. Why? Because together we fulfill one of my favorite promises from the universe, from God, from Source, from Spirit, that one that guarantees us that when two or more of us comes together, we've got the same mindset, heart set, a heart of service to others. You know what happens? Spiritual magic. Plain and simple, right? So here we are today. Welcome my sidekick. You know, she's my version of Ed McMahon. This is Lucy McGillicuddy Ricardo. She has been here every day with me for 7 years straight, and I couldn't do it without you. I love me some Lucy. Sure do. And if you're here for the first time, let me tell you about the bell. The bell of purpose, a real thing. Look, a real thing. It's not just a gimmick. It is not a show prop. It is an opportunity, a reminder, if you will, that just like that bell has a ring to it, well, you guessed it, so does the truth. And I know we're busy. It's hard nowadays. We've got so many things to do all at the same time, but we should never be so busy that we miss some truth. Can I get an amen? So when you hear that bell ring, it means tune in. Lean in and take this truth with you. You'll be glad you did. Can I get an amen? Drop it in the comments. Where are you from today? Let me know where you're at. It's a beautiful day here in the Chicagoland area, and I have a great guest for you. Let me see. Do I have any? Yes, I do. I have one announcement before we get our guest in here. This Saturday at 1 p.m. Central, I'll be working the board here. One of my coaching clients, Lisa Anna Palmer out of Canada, is going to have a 2-hour television special. It's really 90 minutes with a follow-up of a 30-minute Q&A for all of you leaders. It is how to lead effectively with purpose in a post-pandemic world. And she has a stellar lineup of leadership experts from around the globe. So join us, if you will. You'll find it on all of my platforms and on Live Central right here on E360 TV. So that's that. What else? Juneteenth is coming up next Monday. That's another thing. We'll get more into that later in the week. Today's guest, let me tell you who's here. I just love this guy. And I kind of say it's kind of odd for me to see him without, you know how there's Will and Jada, Oprah and Stedman, right? Ethel and Lucy. I had to get that in there. Dr. Thomas Oliver Sr., his beautiful wife. Every time I've seen him, I've seen her. They indeed are evenly yoked in a power couple, but he's here solo today. And Dr. Oliver is a Philadelphia native, and he's taught for over 22 years in the Dayton Public School system over in Dayton, Ohio. Now, as a Naval Science Instructor teaching grades 9 through 12, Dr. Oliver retired from the United States Marine Corps. Well, I'm sorry, our guest didn't show up today because I'm Air Force, so I don't know how I missed that one. Well, we would have had Dr. Oliver. I'm kidding. That's just what we do, the different branches. Y'all know how it is. Anyway, he had over 22 years of service. He earned his Bachelor of Science degree in social psychology, and also has a master's degree in management and a Doctor of Humanities. And so we are so excited to have him here today because he has a new book out, and it's an exciting one. And I want to share it with you today and hear his backstory. So you know what we do. He's never been here before. He's a first timer. So you know what we're going to do? We are going to roll out the virtual red carpet. We're going to give a virtual standing ovation. How do we do that? It's easy, simple, free, and most importantly, painless. So put some hearts on the screen because here he comes, Dr. Thomas Oliver Sr. And don't leave that senior off because he'll cut you. Welcome. How are you?
Hello. I am so honored and excited to be here.
Same here. Ring the bell on that one. Straight out the gate. I got a feeling you don't like it when people call you Tom.
You know, you got that right.
I had a feeling because you don't roll like a Tom.
That's right.
You roll like a Thomas.
That's right.
Plus,
keep it real.
Right, and you're senior.
Yes, sir.
So that means there's a junior somewhere.
There's a junior and there's also a third.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So you're a grandfather?
Yes, I am.
You are. Listen,
Yes.
I want you to tell people. I left. Your bio is about this long, and we only have an hour, so I had to kind of give them the Reader's Digest version. But as I alluded to before I brought you in, I like to give the guests like a minute just to get in there by yourself, look at the audience, and create your own vibe. Start it off. Tell them something that you want them to know, and I'll come back in, and we'll officially get started. Does that sound okay?
Oh, sounds fine to me.
All right, take it away, all you.
Hello, everybody. My name, like you said, is Dr. Thomas Oliver Sr., and I'm so happy to be here to share with you my new book. It's called Journey of an Adolescent. And, as I thought about writing it, it's more of I'm on that journey with them. And that's the most important thing, is to being in that journey. So when I look at this book, the journey that these adolescents are on, I happen to be a part of it. And it was so significant to me that I started learning more things about the next generation. And it's important for us to focus on the next generation. We have to hear their stories. We have to be on their journeys and help them navigate themselves through this world of uncertainty. But I'm glad that some of you have tuned in to get a vibe of what adolescents are going through. And I'm very, very passionate about it. I think I would say for the last 40 years, I've been involved in adolescents, from the time in the Marine Corps, training them, and to going into teaching. It's just amazing. It's a whole new world if we would just open our eyes and see what they see. I have this thing. We're in the same place at the same time, but we see things differently. And if you look at the next generation, they see things differently too. And us as adults, we need to be able to go down there and see it from their perspective. How can we help them if we don't see what they see? Perception is a big deal. What was Lauren saying? Lauren, you there?
I'm here, but I'm muted because I'll tell you why. Sorry about that. Because I was pouring some coffee, and when I'm not on the screen and I pour coffee, people tell me it sounds like I'm peeing in the background. So I'd mute, and then I forget that I did it, because it really does, though. Because I went back and listened, and look.
Oh,
it sounds like I'm peeing. Right, but I'm not. I ain't nasty. So there it is. Listen, I was saying that I get it. I totally get it. I surround myself with young people all as much as I can, because they have so much healing, even little ones. You know, I'll sometimes, when I'm feeling some kind of way, Doc, I will stand on my deck and just listen. Wait a minute. I don't like that blurry. I got too close to the screen or something there. You know, that AI or tech stuff. I'll just stand on my deck, just close my eyes, and I can hear kids playing, and I can hear their laughter. And you guys have heard me talk about this before. And instantly, I start feeling better. So there is a lot of healing, and it's such a brief time, a brief season of our journey. And that's where a lot of things happen that we drag and the thing about trauma, when it's early, trauma grows with us. And so, our kids need us, and we need them probably more than they need us, if truth be told.
Hey.
So let's talk about, how many kids do you have?
I have a girl and a boy. Well, a woman and a man.
Because they're grown now.
Yeah, they're in their 40s. So.
What?
Yes.
Wow. And you have how many grandchildren?
3.
And how old are they?
I have one that's just turned a year. I have another one that is 14, and I have one that's 15. Okay,
so 2 of them are up in that sweet spot.
That's right.
Of adolescence. Why did you choose that particular, because you have all these different sections of childhood. Why adolescence? Do you feel that that's like one of the most important times, or what is it about that particular age group for you?
They're still trying to figure out who they are. And the way society is changing, America's value systems are changing.
Yes.
These individuals are being inundated with so much information, it's hard for them to choose. Then you're dealing with the family structure that may not even be there. They're dealing with a host of things. Some of them are dealing with things as adults, trying to figure out how to be an adult.
Yes. Yes.
And it's the most crucial time, because you think about it. You go from 13 to 18. By the time they get 18, the world is saying that you should be independent. You should know how to make choices. But nobody wants to deal with the things that they have to deal with in their lives. And it's very, very hard to do that when you don't have that support. And we wonder why young kids are going up, shooting up schools, crime, drugs. They're trying to figure out, how do I survive in life? And we have to get them from the survival mode to the living mode.
Amen. Amen. So when you first started the process of deciding whether you would do this book, or how you were going to do this book, or what you were going to title the book, and you finally settled on The Journey of an Adolescent, so these are stories directly from their mouths, right?
Yes. Yes.
How did you find the people, the kids that were involved in the project? Where'd you get them from?
They were my former students. Like, I taught for 22 years. And to this day, I have students that still communicate with me from as far as Dubai, all around the country, because my teaching style was basically unorthodox. And because it was unorthodox, that's what they cling to, because I was different. I was real. I was like you. I tell the truth.
Yeah.
Because see, the strangest thing is they see the truth.
Oh, let me tell you. Yes, 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 and yes. Got to ring the bell 3 times on that one. Because let me tell you something. Honest, real talk. See, and that's the thing. A lot of kids just want to be, need to be heard. Yes. You know, that the day of do what I say, is my way or the highway. I brought you in, I'll take you. That shit ain't rolling no more. I'm just keeping it real. Right. Because kids, they have a lot to say. They have a lot to say. And even when they don't, things that they don't want to say, but they need to speak it, yes, there needs to be that bond where they feel that they can tell you anything. Somebody, it doesn't have to be mama or daddy, sister or brother, granny or grandpa, but they need somebody that they can confide in should they need to. Now, I'm going to tell you something I learned. I'll never forget it. When I first started on the speaking circuit, started off in schools, right? And I'll never forget, I was in a gymnasium, and it was 500 students, and middle school, elementary to middle, I think from kindergarten to 6th grade. And they had them sitting on the floor, Indian style, from the little ones all the way to the older ones in the back. So I'm walking across back and forth, and there's these 3 little black girls. They're in kindergarten. They had 1,000 little click-clacks and barrettes in there. You know how we do them, right? And they're sitting there, and I was about 10 minutes in, and I looked down. It was a ripple effect was what I was talking about. And they were like, I knew exactly. They were like, we ain't feeling you.
Yeah, really.
You see what I'm saying? I had to change it up. I was like, what? What'd I do to y'all? And they were like, you're not even looking at us. You're looking over us. I'll never forget it. And so they taught me something that I carry with me today. Hundreds of speaking gigs later, out of little 5-year-olds, because they keep it real. So let me let's go like, so how many stories are in the book?
Well, there's 2 stories. The true stories. And what was remarkable about it, I didn't ask for it.
No?
No, they gave it to me. One of them was, had her for 4 years in my program. She went to college and she wrote this paper. Her first paper she wrote was about me and the relationship that she had with me, that from her perception. I had that, my relationship was the scholar teacher relationship,
Right.
you know, but her relationship went a lot deeper in her mind.
Her relationship with you.
Right. Because I listened. I was hard. I was disciplined. You see, but yet I was compassionate. See, and that's the key thing. We try to control these young people. They can do it themselves if they had the right tools.
Yeah.
That's all they want. That's all they want. And then I have another another one in there that her mother had her at the age of, I think, 13.
Wow.
When she came to me, she already had a son almost a year old at 15. And what she wrote about is that she was totally in despair. But I didn't look at her that way. I said one thing to it. Okay, what are we going to do to brighten your future? And she told that story that I looked past it. And I never realized I'd done that.
Until later.
They wrote it on paper.
Yeah.
So what I started doing, I had this little thing that I'd say, okay, I want you to write down 2 things. And it was a paper. I want to know where you're from. I mean, describe where you're from, smell, sight, sounds, and stuff like that. And it was incredible because where they're from gave me a lot of information on how to communicate with them.
Oh, that is so true.
The next thing I did after I'd done that and analyzed, and I mean every single student, I said, write down, it was entitled, Who Am I? Because I wanted to see what their perception of themselves was. And it told me, and then I matched it with where they're from.
Yeah.
And their perception of where they're from was formulating who they are.
Oh, absolutely right.
So my thing was, every student knew this about me. I don't look at you for what you are. I look at you for what you can become.
Right.
See, Lauren, it's our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us.
Oh, that's a good point. That's a great point. Hold that thought right there. I want to tell you something. And you guys as well. I'll never forget it. It was right here in this very house. When it was maybe it was before COVID. I know that much. And it was a Saturday, and my front door was open, and our security door is all glass, right? So there's no panes or anything, one big sheet of glass. So it looks like it's wide open. And I was in the dining room where I could see straight down the hallway outside, and the doorbell rang. And then when I stood up and looked, I saw 2 young African-American kids. They were 14 and 15 from the city. I'm out in the suburbs. And then they rang it and ran down to the sidewalk. And so they see me walk into the door, and they're still down there. But I was like, what is this, a prank? Why y'all ring the doorbell and run down there? They said, well, because we're selling candy, because we're from the city, and we have to raise our own money for sports or music programs. I said, okay, but why run down there? They go, well, out here, we've had people pull baseball bats from behind the door or threaten to let their dogs out on us. I said, yeah. And I just assumed, which we should never do. I said, yeah, but you clearly could see I'm a man of color. Why would I do it? They go, I'm sorry to tell you this, but those are the ones who usually do threaten the dogs. And I was like, what? So fast forward. I say, well, how often do you come out? They go, every weekend till we go back to school. So I said, I'll pick you up at the train station and I'll drive you around, because I wanted to see, ease down the street behind me. Right. I was just waiting, all had a hoodie on, right? Trying to look hard, right? And so, but then another thing happened. the next week when they were on their way, I said, call me when you're on the way so I can wrap up what I'm doing and be at the train station, pick you up. Well, they were whispering. I said, why are y'all whispering if you're on the train? I never been on the train. They said, we're in the quiet car. I said, why y'all, you're 14 and 15, why are you in the quiet car? They said, because where we live, this ties into what you said about finding out their sounds and smells and things. They said, because where we live in the projects, we never hear silence. There's always, screams or gunshots or sirens or music or something. We never hear silence, even in our own apartments. So we love the quiet car because it's peaceful. Broke my heart. Changed everything about what I thought I was doing, the motive of why I was doing it. It makes me want to cry right now. And that was like 6 years ago, Thomas. So I get it. So let's talk about this. The book. What are your hopes for the readers of this book to take away from it? What if you could have your druthers, what would it consist of?
Well, the reason when I looked at my life and I looked at the first time I met you in Atlanta, you talked about a journey. You talked about a story, telling a story. And I started thinking I could tell my story, but what impacts my story? For 40 years, and I had to realize this, I was around young people, influencing them, helping them to be successful. But see, what my journey was all about, it helped me.
Right.
I went to the next level, helping them. I didn't even realize it until I retired from school teaching.
See?
And so I want to give back. I want to tell their stories. And I sent this to every student that I ever had. And I had comments coming back saying, and they called me Master Sergeant back then. They said, Master Sergeant, you saved my life. Wow. This book everybody should buy this book. It should be in the school system because it's geared towards us. And the things that you talked about, this is the things that we're going through, and people are not listening. I went to a camp the other day, took my grandson, because I used to run a boot camp in Chillicothe, Ohio. And I gave it to one of the instructors. The instructor said, we need this book in the school. Every freshman needs to have it. See, it's an easy read. It's about them. I'm in the journey with them. I'm paying attention. I'm guiding. And I did not know that I was the one that was helping him. I thought I was just doing my job, and it just totally flipped.
So let me ask you this. It's one thing when it's your job, okay?
Right.
Which is other people's children. But another thing when it is your responsibility, i.e. the parent. Did you learn anything from these kids about how your relationship with your own two children were when they were adolescents, things you might have missed?
Oh, yes.
Talk about that.
Believe it or not, when you're talking about being an open book, you have to be transparent. All right. I'm going to tell you, as a teacher, I was more effective being transparent. So we would have conversations. I would shut down the class. We would have conversations. And I would say to them, you know what? My daughter is pissing me off right now. Right. And this is what happened. Let me tell you, Lauren, those girls start raising their hand and start telling me what was going on. See, I was too close. And they would tell me what was going on. They even told me what my daughter or my son was going to do next.
These kids.
Because
they think in the same.
Exactly. And that blew my mind. And my kids used to say to me, Dad, how do you know what we're going to do before we do it? And my secret was your peers was telling me what you were going to do because they were doing
As
it.
your homeboy told me, that's why.
Exactly.
You know, I want to ask you this. You know how when you're a kid, I mean, I'm almost 61 in a couple weeks. But I still remember when I was an adolescent and all of that until I became, you know, whatever you're called when you're in your 20s. I can't get those Gen X and all that stuff
Yeah,
straight.
really.
But, you know, what happens in your world when you're that age is everything.
Yeah.
You think it's the end of the world. Let somebody break up with you. You know, let somebody start a rumor about you. This, that, and the other. And as adults, you know, we moved. I ain't studying that. You know, this, that, and the other. It's easier to deflect and just stay in our lane. But kids, something untoward happens. It can flip everything. And so can you talk about some of the warning signs? Because I wonder, let me ask you this. Out of all the years you taught, did you ever lose a student either to the system or, you know, somebody got pregnant or God forbid, lost their life from, you know, getting away? They got the one that got away kind of a thing. Did you ever experience that? And if you did,
You know, I thought I did. As time went on, I never lost a kid. Even
that's
if
awesome.
even if the kid was not fitting in with the school or got kicked out of school, because of the relationship I built with the kid, they would say to me, "Man, Sergeant, you keep it real. You keep it real." I'd look at them and I was engulfed in their lives. They would come to me with problems, and other kids would bring a kid with problems. See, I had kids that was hungry. Guess what I had in my class? I had a refrigerator. I had a microwave. I had food. My wife used to give me food to take to school. And we're talking to high school here. So they knew where they can come for not only advice, but for nourishment they couldn't get at home.
I couldn't get it home.
Then the biggest thing, I got involved in parents. I have a philosophy when you're dealing with parents as a teacher. If I cannot sit down in a bar and have a drink with you or go to your house and break bread, how am I going to help your child? I'm not better than you. I'm just as screwed up as everybody else. I have my own things. You see what I'm saying?
I do.
But I dealt with the families. I needed to know the family dynamics. I would look at kids and say, you know what? During spring break, you're going to end up going to jail. And they would look at me. How do you know that? I said, it's based on your behavior. A while later, after spring break, they say, wow, I did go to jail. And then they start explaining to me how they got caught up in it. And they say, this is not what I want to do. You have to be, in my book, I talk about we have to tell the truth as teachers. We have to tell that truth because they see it. So what we say to them is lies. So just think about it. If somebody lies to you and you find it out, are you going to trust them? No, you're not. A kid is no different. They're searching how to navigate themselves. See, they're inundated with all this technology and all this information. All this stuff is coming at them so fast.
Mm-hmm.
And so they don't know how to make choices. They don't have time. This is the fad. That's the fad. Let's do this. Let's do that. Everything is so fast. Nobody's teaching them really how to live. There's a difference between living and surviving. These kids don't want to just survive, especially if they see their parents just surviving.
Absolutely right.
They're trying to break the cycle. So as adults, the biggest thing when we start talking, we have to set the example. We have to set the example.
Yes, absolutely right. And I'm going to show a clip. I didn't expect this, but I'm going to, because you reconnected me. You remembered me to when my very first Powerfully Symposium, when I went looking for the kids that I wanted to put their stories inside of our promo video, right? And I thought I was going to find like, yeah, you know, my mama this or my daddy ain't been here, or, you know, I don't know why I thought that, but I did. But the stories they brought, and we actually let them reenact them in this clip you're going to see. And so you'll see a girl slam a door in a woman's face, which was my assistant at the time. Shout out to Brenda Tucker Jeffries for playing a mama. But the reason she showed, I said, what anger is on the surface right now? You know, and the one girl said, because my mama's on crack. And I had been saving for my prom dress for 6 months, walking to school, using my L money, my CTA, you know, the bus money, saving it up. And I had a hiding spot in my room, but the mother drilled a hole somewhere in the wall and then set her up and said, oh, Miss Jenkins down the hall gave me this $5 for you. And the girl said she was suspicious because ain't no way her mama would have held on to $5 to give it to her. But nonetheless, she went right in, and the mother waited until she was supposed to be running out the door to meet her friends to walk to school. And she ran in and put it in her hiding spot. She said, I should have kept it in my pocket. But her mother watched where the hiding spot. She came home, and every penny she had saved for her prom dress was gone. There was a kid that you see studying an advanced chemistry book in the dark. And he said, I want to show that one because just last night I had to study for my AP chemistry final, which is today, in the dark because my mama didn't pay the light bill. And so these are the challenges that oftentimes they tell no one about. So if it's okay with you, I'm going to show that clip because I want to hear how I think this is the crux of what we're talking about here today as far as an adolescent's journey. And I just, it's powerful. And you're the first person that I've met that has really come out with a platform to feature and highlight these very stories. So let's take a look. And then we'll come back and see what you have to say about it. Okay, here we go.
Statistics say they shouldn't be here.
And these are all the real kids, no actors.
On the streets, in jail, or worse. Statistics say their dreams will never see the light of day. A lot of people never see this side of things. Where I've been and where these kids are. A lot of people never see how we try to make something from nothing. They never see how hard we have to work to keep our dreams from being stolen by one tough decision. A lot of people don't realize that the margin for error for a young life lost to darkness and a life of success comes down to just one opportunity. But we have the power to change that. Not only do we have the power, we have the responsibility to keep sharing our light on the path for those who want to find their way out of darkness. We have the power of adversity, overcoming every obstacle to make our dreams a reality. We have the power of choice, knowing that every day we can choose to succumb or to keep moving forward. We have the power of control, knowing our destiny is within our hands. And we have the power of confidence, because each and every one of us has greatness within. We have the power of leadership, forging a path not only for ourselves, but for others just like us. We have the power of passion, pouring every ounce of our being, every breath of our souls into our biggest dreams. We have the power of harmony, knowing that we achieve more as we create an infallible social compatibility. We have the power of love, where our purity, decency, and truth will heal the world. We have the power of tranquility. In that
was powerful. Just a couple of things I've seen on there, and one thing that really bothered me is statistics. Statistics are no more than numbers. You can't count a kid's emotions. There's no way you can quantify what they're feeling unless you're right there.
Right there.
You know?
Yeah.
That what you just showed me, I mean, it made me tingle, because the first part of my book addresses that. And if you will, I'll just read some of it.
I was hoping you would. And just before we get too far down the block from that clip, I want you to know I'm in touch with almost every one of those kids today. And I'm grateful to say that all of them are doing splendidly. They are now out of college, because that was 5 years ago. They were all seniors. Yeah. And I wanted to point out, in the beginning, you saw that hearse.
Yes.
You know, that hearse, they said, there's no funeral home within 3 miles of the school in all directions. But every day that hearse would be parked there and would sit there all day. And no one could explain where it came from or why. And I was looking at that and I was like, that's purposeful. Somebody's trying to plant. You see what I'm saying?
Planting that seed.
Yeah. And these are things that our kids deal with, that when they leave the house, they step into a world we never see. And that's why what you're doing in this book, this work, is so important. So go ahead. I've been looking forward to this all morning.
Well, now what I'm about to read is what I learned from listening to those students.
There you go.
It says, adolescents have survived the vulnerable years of early childhood and are decades away from the degeneration disease of old age. Their energies are directed towards achieving popularity, autonomy from adults, success in school, and satisfying romantic and platonic relationship. But in today's society, it is easy to see the negative behavior due in part to society has placed their behavior in the limelight. As they try to navigate their way through the world that is surrounded by uncertainty in their eyesight, the need for mentoring is becoming increasing. The future of many people, young people, hang in the balance. What they're really looking for, they seek to function in an environment that is orderly and systematic, with the opportunities to be self-directed and feel like they have a sense of control. But today's adolescents have no opportunity to choose the community in which they live, the families to which they live with, or the schools they attend. These relationships define and limit their behavior because of conflicting family values, school standards, and the change of societal norms. Adolescents are now frustrated and angrily rejecting the institution, seeking to create their own values.
Wow. I see why you say this should find its way into schools, into church youth groups.
Yes.
Every place where these kids frequent. We're going to take just a brief commercial break. And just 1 minute, I promise, just 1 minute. I'm actually going to have to do V8 twice tomorrow because I'm going to skip V8 today.
And why am I buying V8 now watching you?
Oh, well, you know, I was drinking it before they became a sponsor. Because, when we come back, though, because there's, we got 10 minutes or so still, I wanted to get into the healing process, and why. And I'm hoping you will commission all of those who are watching and who will watch the replay about what you would like to see them do with this book. Because there are people watching saying, well, my kid's grown, I ain't got no kids, or da 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 da. But I think everybody should have one of these books on hand.
You know, you said something very important when you say, well, my kids are grown, I don't have to, but you still have to deal with adolescents. We still have to set the example.
Exactly.
Maybe, just maybe, reading this will give you a better understanding of walking up to one, introducing yourself, letting them know that you care. You don't have to know them. You know what I'm saying?
I do know what you're saying.
When I grew up, guess what? Everybody in the neighborhood had something to say to me if I was doing
everybody.
Something bad
Oh my
good.
Goodness.
Yeah.
There was a Miss Jenkins in every neighborhood. Yeah.
Oh.
It was Sister McLean, because she went to our church. Well, God rest her soul. But back then I couldn't stand her because you couldn't do nothing without her calling and telling on you. I mean, 20 seconds after you did it, my mama knew about it.
Yeah.
She'd be waiting at the front porch door with her hand behind her back.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, what's in your hand? Don't worry about it. Come on in here. You know, and I'd be trying to run past her. You know, listen, when we come back, we're going to finish this out and we're going to talk directly to you. And there's lots more show in front of us. Don't you dare go away. We'll be right back.
From right to left, and every angle in between. Know what I mean in this day and age? So many seem like they're lost inside a world and held captive in a dream. A glimpse of mediocrity, take one for the team. And even though this path is long and this place is unforeseen, gotta keep your feet moving, filling spaces in between, seeing places in your dreams. If you complacent by your means, by all means go back to sleep. The path is steep, there's no rest for the weary. If you intend to reach peaks, it gets deep. Come on, it's infinite, we still climbing. Yes, yes, y'all. And thanks for the positive vibes, but I still got a mountain to climb. Just take it one step at a time,
I'm gonna ball till I fall, gonna ride till I die. I'll never give in, yo, if I wanna survive. Not gonna swallow my pride, I'll never give up, cause when it's all said and done, is what I've done enough. I push myself to the edge, I push myself to the brink. Is the toil all worth it? It makes me stop and think. But through the mud and the mire, the joy and the strife, no one can claim that I didn't live all of this beautiful life.
Welcome back to today's installment of Bathrobe Moments. I'm your host, Dr. Lauren Michaels Harris, and the clip you just saw is a guest next week. A week from today, Ryan Hendricks will be here. He's a veteran, has a book out, which you just saw, Tip of the Spear, and it is hitting the world in a big, big way. So mark your calendars. Also coming up next week, we have got, tomorrow, J.R. Reed, weird but not autistic but not weird is his moniker. He'll be here tomorrow. Next week, you can look forward to Tony Rodriguez is here on Monday. It is Meet the Experts Day next Tuesday, which is one of the most popular shows of the month. All the experts will be in the house, and Alexis Black and her husband will be here, Justin. They are foster care alumni, and they are tearing the speaking circuit up. And they're going to show you about getting your story on the stages. And then Anya Armstrong, a first-timer, followed by Ryan Hendricks on next Friday. So let's get today's guest back in here, Dr. Thomas Oliver Sr. Thank you. Welcome back, Thomas.
Thank you.
Let's talk about how can you speak to the audience about why we need each other and why this book where do you feel this book should sit? Whose bookshelf, whose counter, whose kitchen table, who needs this book and why?
I think ninth graders, because first of all, we're losing our ninth grade population from 8th grade to 9th grade, especially males. We're losing that population. And it's because of these issues.
What do you mean when you say losing them? Where are they going?
They're dropping out. They're getting involved in the gangs, prostitution, all kinds of things. They don't see the value of education because what they experienced in that one setting in middle school is not working. So why am I going to go on to this and it's going to be worse?
Right. And they think they still a kid, but they think they're grown.
Exactly.
Right in there. Right. I
But
get it. Keep going.
But I'm going to tell you, when 90% of my students, when I deal with them, they cry. They can be hard, but they cry. It's a release for them. It's like, why did you break me down? And I look at them and say, well, how do you feel now?
Wow.
I feel different. I'll give you a prime example. I have never written up or suspended a kid in 20 some years. I've had kids throw stuff at me, curse at me, and I would stand there and I would look at them and go, if you could communicate a different way, would you? And they would look at me stunned and go, I guess so. Okay, now let's try to get you to that point. And that's how we build these relationships. I don't get all spazzed out because they are cursing at me. Because guess what? Maybe that's the only form of communication they know.
Yeah.
Teaching says you need to meet them where they're at. Well, if you as a teacher can't go where they're at physically,
how you gonna meet them there?
You can't do it. You can't reach them.
And, so, and Thomas, in the schools, speaking at all the schools and different things, you hear from the teachers, especially special needs and whatnot. Mm-hmm. A lot of special needs teachers with master's degrees and whatnot go into general education before 2 years because of all of the paperwork, because their hands are tied. And tell me this, how you feel. A lot of parents put a lot of the responsibility on teachers that should not be the teacher's responsibility. But then teachers are also, there are some teachers who it's a job, whereas there are others like yourself where it is a calling. And, talk about what parents can do to help a good teacher. Because if it's only when the kid goes to school that somebody's listening, they go home and the volume has been turned completely, they've been put right back on mute. So talk about the importance. Have you ever talked to parents about, listen, I need your help in making this?
I'm glad you brought that up. It's our responsibility to help socialize these people into society. That's our main purpose of this education, if you really think about it.
Yeah.
So parents don't want to hear from teachers. And here's why. Yeah. Because every time a teacher calls them, it's a problem about the kid. You see what I'm saying? So parents, that's when the parents will go, well, what are you doing there? They'll start questioning the teachers. And in reality, they should, because the question should be, what type of relationship do you have with my child? See, if you had a good relationship with my child, you wouldn't have all these problems. If you treat my child the same way you treat somebody else, you have to understand there are teachers that are coming in teaching that does not live in the school district.
So they go.
How can a teacher that lives in the suburbs go and teach them to an inner city and then have a relationship with the parent? They can't see that. You see, they can't see that. But here's what I will tell you. My most powerful weapon was a parent. I knew that when I called a parent, they were going like, well, what did she do now? Or, what did he do now? I call up and say, you know what? I have some good news for you. And they go like, what? What happened? I said, I need your help. Your son, your daughter has this light that I see within them. And so I flip it and I start telling them all the good things I see in them. And guess what? The parents see it too, but they're frustrated in how to get it out.
Right.
So now all of a sudden the parent says, what do you need me to do? I said, what can I do? You do whatever it takes to keep my son out of jail.
Right.
To keep my daughter from being pregnant.
Right.
Help me get these kids graduated. Now I'm building a community. Now, can you imagine? I have 120 kids. And every year I had a big potluck dinner. and I would have 200 people there.
Wow.
Because one thing, it became a family. Parents start talking to other parents that their kids were in there. And I had this thing too. I used to tell the parents, this is your school. I said, you can walk in. You don't have to call me. You can walk into my classroom anytime you want because I have nothing
down and, right.
And you know what they used to do? They used to come in, sit down. And if a kid was acting bad, they got involved. You know what the kid did? Say, uh-oh.
Right.
Because I taught them how to respect adults. But the key thing is how adults communicate with them.
Big one. Listen, excuse me. We are unfortunately out of time, but there's still time for you to head over and grab this book. I have taken the liberty of dropping the direct link to Amazon, where you can go and pick up the book, An Adolescent's Journey, by Dr. Thomas Oliver Sr. It is there for easy use. Pray on it if you need to, but get over and get it. A great gift, especially now. A lot of kids graduating. Just go over and take a look. And I guarantee you, you're going to find something there that you didn't think you would find. Thomas?
Can I say something, Warren?
Yes.
Just one more thing.
Of course.
If you buy the book, hand it to an adolescent.
Right.
Someone you don't know. They need to know somebody is paying attention and understands. And maybe they might reach out to find a mentor.
That's right. That's right. People can't do anything about an opportunity if they're not aware of that opportunity. Here's where you can be of service. Let me tell you something, people. One day we're going to watch that beautiful bean footage known as our journey. Do you want to be one of those people that is there? Well, if I'd have known, well, somebody would have told me. How was I supposed to? No, it is those things that we do that we think no one will see. Those things we do when we think no one is looking. How much could that matter? A lot. So help out, be of service, and let's save these kids one story at a time. Thomas, thank you so much. It has been a true honor, a blessing. I can't wait until next time, and give my regards to your lovely wife. And you guys out there, thank you so much for blessing me today and pouring into me. And I hope you've been poured into as well. I'll see you tomorrow morning, God willing, on the front porch at 8 a.m. Central Standard Time. And together, we'll create yet another divine moment in time through illuminated conversation where? Right here on Bathrobe Moments. And in closing, as I always say, I love you. And there ain't a damn thing you can do about it. I'll see you tomorrow. Thanks, Thomas. Great job, as always. Bye-bye.
Dad.
Bye. Have a great day.
Bye.
Show me your soul. Baby, I'll show you mine. Show me your soul. Honey, it's way past time. How expensive do I have to be? Need I spell it out before you get it, baby? Show me your soul. And honey, I'll show you.